Um, Thank you for starting that up. So thank you everyone for being here today. This is the Nantucket Planning and Economic Development Commission. This is a special meeting that we're having to discuss our enabling legislation. Just so you're aware at this point, we will not be taking any public testimony during that phase of the meeting. So this is strictly for the commissioners to be able to digest the information and act on anything that may come up during the process. Let me try to think here. Let me do a roll call vote at this point and just keep reminding me in case I forget. So, and of course, the phone's going to ring right now. Thank you. My apologies. All right, so let's start from the top. Roll call people is John Kitchener,
Aye.
Nat Lowell,
Here.
Brooke Moore.
Present.
Thank you. Dave Iverson,
Here.
Joe Topham,
Here.
Christina Gelamy,
Here.
Abby DiMolina.
Here.
Thank you. Wendy Hudson
Here.
and Bert Johnson. He may be logging on. No,
Here,
check.
here, Barry.
There we go. There we go. And unfortunately, Mike Miserelli, well, we may or may not see him at this point. Hopefully we will. Anyways, thank you everyone for being here at this point. You have an agenda before you as well, too. And oh, let me do considering roll call, I'm sorry. For staff, there's Megan Trudell. We couldn't hear you, Megan, but that's okay.
I'm here. Here.
Thank you. Leslie Snell.
I'm here.
And Mike Burns.
I'm here.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. Just real quickly, it's not on the agenda, but I'd like to do this just in case. Is there anything from the public that is not on the agenda that we need to address at the moment? Okay. Not saying anything. We'll move directly into the agenda at this point. So we're here to discuss the ongoing part of our enabling legislation at this point, as Leslie denoted, that there may be some actions that will be associated with what we do today. Leslie, do you want to kick things off?
I do. First, I want to address some emails that were sent over the weekend that need to be entered into the record. I sent out an email to the commission. I believe it was alerting them to this meeting and why we needed to have it. And there were several people who replied all. So the people who replied all posed questions. One person pointed out that people shouldn't be entering into discussion via email. And we just need to enter those 4 emails into the record at the meeting today. And Megan has those and she'll need to put those on the screen.
Thank you.
So here are 2 of the 4. This was Leslie's email to the whole commission.
Yeah.
And then there were 2 replies from John.
Mm-hmm.
And then let me find the other.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's the same one. Come on.
While she's looking for that, I mean, I talked with town council yesterday and she emphasized the importance of not replying all and that only scheduling matters can be discussed or posed. So just keep that in mind going forward, please.
Thank you.
And these were the other 2.
Okay, so no action is needed. These just needed to be entered and shown. to the
Thank you.
commission.
Thank you.
All right, so to get into the legislation, you all
Point of
already
order,
voted.
point of order,
Sorry?
Mr. Chair. I'm sorry, but
You're
I
raising a point of order, Hillary?
yeah, I
I-
couldn't, I don't feel those communications have been disclosed because I couldn't read them. So if you want to share them, could you share them in a way that people can actually know what they say?
Would,
Either post them in the packet or, you know, I'd actually like if you could just show them again and then I can just take a screenshot of it and I can read it. But I don't feel that they were disclosed because they were flashed on the screen and I couldn't read them, and everybody else knows what they say because you got them in your email and I didn't.
okay.
Thank you.
Meeting is being recorded too, so it will be uploaded onto YouTube
Right.
as
but
soon as our
I-
communications department can get to it.
Thanks. I just might like to know what they say
Mhm.
while I listen to the meeting, just as everybody else knows what they say.
Sure. So Christina replied, curious if you could provide us with where the select board meeting we should be looking. Also, the answers to the rest of John's questions. Dave Iverson replied, with all due respect to everyone, this type of email can be construed as an OML violation. Please stop. Request should go through the chair. And now I X out of the other one, so hold on, it's gonna take me a moment.
Thank you.
John Kitchener replied, Leslie, can you please let us know who specifically provided the direction previously provided? And then he also said in a second email, is the original direction in writing anywhere? Thanks, John. Okay. And
Thank
then
you,
I can-
Miss.
Leslie's email. Thanks.
Sure. So Leslie's original email said, good morning, commission members. A potential legal issue with our approach to the NP&EDC legislation changes, which is contrary to the direction previously provided, was discussed at the select board meeting on Wednesday evening. I was unaware that this was going to be discussed. Please try to make time to watch the video of that portion of the select board meeting. I'm in the process of looking into it with town council and the legislative team at MARPA. The select board decided to have further discussion at their meeting on 11/13, and it is a listed agenda item. A meeting has been posted for the NP&EDC, so you can attend the meeting and participate, but unfortunately, an NP&EDC meeting couldn't be scheduled in advance for a variety of reasons. In addition, we need to schedule a special meeting for this Friday. In the event the approach the commission voted cannot proceed, and the commission wants to proceed with a citizen article for ATM. There are other options to discuss as well. Again, if we need to consider a different approach, please respond to Catherine and let her know if you're available at the following times and include your response a yes or no for each time. Friday, 11:15 at 11 a.m., 1, 2, or 3. I hope we don't need the Friday meeting at all, but this is yet to be determined. I'll share more information with you when I have it, Leslie. Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
Leslie?
All right, so town council had provided prior direction. He indicated that because the commission is a regional planning agency that is not subject to the town charter or the county charter, that we could proceed with legislation going straight to the legislature. Through conversations with Julian Sears' office and Julian Sears' office talking with Senate council, it became apparent that that was not an option because the Planning Commission, unlike other regional planning agencies, was created through a home rule petition. Therefore, any changes would have to occur through the home rule petition process. And that makes us unique. There's 13 regional planning agencies and the other 12 were not created in that manner. So I think that's where the confusion happened, and Senate Council has confirmed, I believe, that we have to go through the home rule petition process. So the question for you all today is, do you want to proceed with presenting the legislation at town meeting through a home rule petition? Or do you want to pause and see what happens with the changes that were approved at the special town meeting that are now before the legislature? Or do you want to do a citizen petition? Or do you want to ask the select board to sponsor an article for you? So you really have 3 options to discuss.
Leslie, just repeat those options one more time, please.
Option 1 would be to pause and see what happens with the legislation that was approved at the special town meeting, the citizen petition, and see how that goes at the legislature before proceeding with yours. 2 would be to submit a citizen petition to town meeting, which is due on Monday. And 3 would be to ask the select board to place the article on the warrant for you.
Okay. Thank you. It was a lot more succinct. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. I think what I'd like to do is I'm just going to preface things very quickly with just having weathered through this with Leslie for the past few days. I just want to chime in very quickly. I'm going to give you my own opinion, no one else's. And then I'm going to turn to each one of you to see what you'd all like to do. Is there any pre-discussion that you want to have on this? Because I'd like to go straight into what do we want to do. Okay. Not seeing anything at this point. I would say to you right now, with my own personal opinion, I think the best thing for us to do at the moment is to submit a citizens warrant article. That it at least now starts the process of bringing us before town meeting, which I think is a prudent thing. And with the citizens warrant article, it really gives us pretty much full control of how that article is going to proceed ahead as we go through FinCom and then as we get up into town meeting. I will tell you that when I was sitting on the Community Preservation Committee, we did that for several years. So it's not unheard of for a committee to utilize that method of doing a citizens warrant article. And that's all I'm going to say. That's my preference. There's a few good reasons I think as to why to proceed ahead, but I need to hear from the commission with a final decision about what you want to do. So I'm just going to go through each one of you individually at this point. Okay. Brooke, I want to put you up first. Do you mind? You want me to wait? I'll wait a second. I'm happy to move.
I'm probably the last person that should weigh in because I sit on the select board and we'll have
and that's a
vote on the final warrant. So, but I just wanted to explain why the board discussed this a week ago Wednesday was because this got signaled to me from Julian's office through Senate Council, and I my reason for having it at the select board was to give my board the opportunity to sort of weigh in on this concern and maybe get some kind of assessment as to the support that this commission might receive in asking the select board to sponsor the warrant article, if in fact it came down to, we didn't know at the time what we were still investigating the legal implications of this advice that had come through Senate Council. And so poorly handled in terms of communication, but the intention was to sort of assess where my board might be to give this commission a sort of a sense of what direction it might want to take. Asking the select board to sponsor versus doing a citizen petition. So that's all I'll say there, and I'll keep my opinion probably to myself entirely and let the commission decide, because your choice will affect where I'm going to vote. So.
Okay, thank you, Brooke. I will probably just call on you on the end anyways, just in case something changes. But I think we get the drift of it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Dave Iverson.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, for putting me
You're
on the
welcome.
spot. Right now, I think that the best move for us is to hold and let hers make its way through the process. And the reason I say that is that I have great concerns bringing this to town meeting with people that don't understand what an RPA is, what the NPNEDC is and does, and have them voting on the future of it. I think that the well is easily poisoned. It's easy to misunderstand the difference between the planning board and the NPNEDC. I'm not saying what what Matt said about our electorate, but what I am saying is that that there's a lot of moving parts here, and it's difficult to understand. As Christina said a couple meetings ago, I've been here for months and I'm still trying to grasp it. So to ask the voters at town meeting to make an educated decision on this is troubling to me. And that's where I am at the moment.
So we're going to say that you're in the pause category here.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate it at this point. I don't know, Nat.
Ready, Barry?
You were waving your fingers, so
I ain't pressing. I'm not raising my hand today. I'm just gonna wave. So I agree with what Dave said, and I'm gonna add a little more, information. So if the process at town meeting was like a public hearing, we'd have a chance. So think of it this way. We watched, the 5 of us here watched the presentation for the Island Home last night. Wouldn't it be great if we had a presentation about the Planning Commission and the other RPAs in the state and all the differences in what they do and what ours do, with someone that could speak without being stopped or manipulated or considered, maybe accused as being, dishonest? That was a great presentation. It'll be easier to pass the Island Home for $105 million than it will be to approve our legislation change without a way to get as Dave said, it's the nuts and bolts of the NPNEDC. What do we even do? It's hard to explain to somebody, okay? And the way how we were blamed the other day for a house that got built on Hooper Farm Road on Facebook. The HDC approves houses, but we got blamed for it. It's actually amazing to watch. People think we do things that we don't. We're in sort of first grade with the NPNEDC with the public. And I think we have a long way to go to ensure the public as to what we do. And that's one of the reasons why I'm really excited about the joint meetings that we just had the other day, that we need more of that collaboration, explanation, going to select board meetings and discussing this. Because I think the legislation that we've drafted is really good. And if you took all of the components and went over each one and how it got to where it is now, the debate we've had, the concessions we've made, I actually was against most of it, and now I'm totally in favor of it. You know, it took some time. It took 2 years to get this right. In another time, another era, this article might not have even been called at town meeting. Okay, I'm serious. But today, it will be completely blown up because of what the current mindset is now that's been developed. So I'm in favor of waiting, but we need to, in my opinion, get a Judy Barrett type person, somebody that knows this stuff inside and out, that doesn't live here, that understands the rest of the other 12 agencies. There's only 2 that have regulatory power in the state. One's next door and one's next door. So thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. That's it for now.
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it at this point. John Kitchener.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am, as Mr. Iverson, Mr. Lau, I am in the pause, group. I won't, reiterate everything that David and Nat said, but one additional reason for me is this. I think that, in the here and now, we have a board of very smart people that believe deeply in our community. And I think if we hit the pause button, this commission has constructed can go on and do a lot of good things for this community. And would the enabling legislation that we all work so hard on help? Yes, it would. But without it, we are all kind of people that won't let that stop us. We can get on and do the people's work. So I would prefer to pause, stop wasting any more time on this, and let's get on with our work. And maybe a year from now, our track record will speak for itself. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it. Christina? There you go.
I was going to ask some questions regarding the difference between the select board versus citizens' opinion, but I think that with everything that's been said, I'm supportive of the pause. I have a couple comments to Dave and Nat's concerns or reasonings for why they want to pause, though. The fact that people don't understand what we do, or that they wouldn't understand how we got to the the legislation that we were proposing, I think can be fixed. And I think that's the biggest part, is that the education to the public of what we do and how we do it is the most important part to take away. And I think it's important to do that public outreach and those joint meetings and get a presentation that will explain it all, because town meeting has asked us to come forward with, when it first failed, everybody here said, we'll come forward with our own, plan. So we've been mandated to do that, and we have, but it hasn't been communicated. So I'm fine with the pause. I just think that the public outreach and explanation and presentation is critical for us to do. I think that's what we need to be doing.
Was there anything you want to follow up with, Christina?
No.
No. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. Who else have we got out there? Bert?
Yeah, I just want to listen to the discussion before I make my decision. Thank you, Barry.
You want me to put you toward the end, huh?
Great. Well,
I'll be
yeah.
back. Oh, I'll be back to you. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah. Wendy?
Sorry, I had trouble
Go
getting
ahead.
off of mute. Yeah, I'm in favor of of waiting as well. I would definitely underscore all the things that Christina just said about outreach and education. And I would say that, you know, in the meantime, we can work on bringing those other voices in and like, you know, in a lot of the ways we talked about, you know, trying to revamping our meetings to be a little broader and more community based. So I think all these good things can happen, like John said. So, but I would hold off submitting it. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Wendy. I appreciate it. Mr. Totten.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am also in the pause camp. I think that we should, as Christina said, do our public outreach, educate the community. But I also feel that it should, you know, be moved up to the state and just see what happens there. I think that you know, we've got our information ready and done, but I think that that's you know, first in line. So let's see what it does. So and that's my decision. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. Abby. Hi.
Hi, my baby's
good.
here. She's sleeping.
I noticed that. I caught a detail. All right, so you've got to do me one favor. Let's do the fawn for a minute here, and then I'll turn to you. There we
Brooke
go.
got to see her the other day. Oh, now she's up.
There we go. Sorry about that.
So this is little Juliet for those who have not met her. Nantucket's one of soon to be newest voters eventually. Will be here. So anyway.
You're both looking great, Abby.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a lot of fun. I agree with everything everybody said. I think pausing makes sense. I totally agree with you know, what Nat and Christina emphasized about the dual meetings, getting the information out there. I really like the idea, Nat, of the presentation. I wanted to know, I know not everyone was here, but when last December, when the prior petition went to the legislature, it was also really helpful. And I just wanted to give some of the people here who weren't at that hearing, because there was a public hearing on the home rule petition changes. And what I thought was really important, that the message from the legislature was that they really wanted to see this come from a broad consensus of the town. And so they wanted us to be, you know, really leading the way with what these changes were. And I think what Nat talked about is explaining like how we arrived at everything. Like they really were emphasizing that they wanted a broad consensus and support from the town in order to make the changes to the home rule petition. So I think when we're working on doing our education, everything like that, I think, you know, it's really important for us to emphasize that part of how much we have worked with so many different groups on each of the different pieces that we've considered. You know, when I think about like the elected versus appointed, like John, I know you did a lot of really great research. I know Leslie and Megan, you guys worked with talking to our elected officials. Like I know Brooke, you've had those discussions, I have as well. And so like, I think just making sure that we help people to understand, like, this isn't just like us people on the commission coming up with these changes, but that we really did go out thoughtfully, work with different elements within the community on each of our proposed changes, and that really is meeting the charge of what the legislature asked us to do. Because if I think about the way the changes as they've been proposed today, I don't think that's happened. And the legislature was clear that that was not an approach that they supported. So I think by us showing them that we listened and we heard their messaging and that we really did work together as an entire community to come up with our changes, I think that would also go a long way with when we present it to the legislature, but also to our community, letting them know, like I said, it's not just a couple of us. You know, I know people will hear like, oh, if things are behind closed doors type of thing, but the fact is we can say, no, this is done very publicly. Like we've had so many public meetings, we have this presentation, we've had all these different things. So that was just what I wanted to add.
Okay. Thank you, Abby. Appreciate it. Brooke, you're kind of last here at this point, and I know you really didn't want to comment on it, and again, I don't want to, I'm not trying to pressure you into anything, but you've
No,
heard some dialogue and
no pressure at all. I didn't want to speak first in case there was sort of like more of a dialogue about citizen petition versus select board sponsored article, but it's clear that the commission, I feel a clear direction. So, and I would support what I've heard so far.
okay.
Mr. Chairman, can I just follow up again?
Yeah, Nat, go ahead.
Just a couple of additional things based on what's been said. I just want to reiterate a couple things. We are not broken as we currently are now at 11 members. Okay, meaning the rush to get this done doesn't have to be done right this minute. There was reference made that we didn't go fast enough. Abby brought up Christina brought up the 2022 motion, I believe, to refer for study. I think that's what she was talking about. And, you know, we all know how slow things go with the process like this, posting all these meetings, all this time that's taken to flush this out. And we've made a lot of changes with some of the changes. Like every change we made didn't stay. We actually changed some changes too. And I think getting it right is more important than anything else. So if we were in a position where we had like a timeline and we had like something that needed to be done, whether it was a state requiring something or some other entity or some other reason, we would be in a different place, but we're not. So I completely agree with everything that everyone has said so far. And I do really think as Nantucket's current status with everything that's going on or not going on here that involves us or doesn't, involves all the other boards, whether it's select board, whether it's planning, whether it's, you know, transportation issues, it doesn't matter. This is a good time to educate, as Christina said, and I mentioned, you know, some kind of way to explain all this. We need to know, the public needs to know who does what, who's responsible for what. And I really think that bringing in the new additions that we have on the list of the 13 is really important for the community. Just with that issue with the speeds, when Peter Burke was on that meeting that we were on, Leslie, and how many of us were on, I can't remember how many of us were on that. I was like taken aback by what that guy said. And all I could think of is, I'm so glad he's on the list, because we need those kind of voices for Nantucket. It's not about, there's so many different moving parts with this our connectivity to the state, our seat at the table. It is really a prestigious position for Nantucket at the state, this commission. And it's important that we get it right. And it's also important that we are not fighting about it, okay, or appear to be, because we're not. We've had tons of meetings about this. This is not in a vacuum. Look them up. They're all online, including the special group. So that's it. Thank you everyone for coming today.
Yeah. John, go ahead. You muted, John.
Mr. Chair, at the risk of Nat telling me that's what I just said, can I repeat something in my words? And it's this.
Please.
You know, the groups that we were going to bring on to the new structure, we can have them join us as speakers and guests, and they can participate and contribute right away. If we invite them in, Mr. Chair, they can and they will. So I would say, until someone tells us different, and I'm not sure who that might be, it might be you, Mr. Chair, or it might be Brooke, but let's act the way we had on our piece of paper. So let's hear from the land bank. Let's hear from the Chamber of Commerce. Let's hear from them and build that into what we do. Not all at once, Mr. Chair, but over the course. We don't have to. In some ways, I think that the article that's up there now, the home rule petition that's up there with the state, is a group of people try to put us in a box that we didn't want to be in. And we've just chosen not to be put into that box. We will continue who we are, but we'll do some of the things that are in the legislation. So I kind of feel free with this to get on with it. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. Christina, did you have something?
I'd just like to follow up on what Abby said in regards to the legislation and them wanting us to support the home rule petition that's up there. Is it my understanding that, well, I guess the question's for the group. Are we supporting it or are we not supporting it?
That was not what I was saying.
Yeah, hold on. Through the
So,
chair.
well,
That's okay.
my question is, if they come and ask us, how I heard it was that they want us all to come together and be in collaboration of the ideas. And so I guess my question is just point blank, are we supporting it? Are we not? And if the legislation was asking us, to come back with, kind of what we want or what, and that research that we did, that we get the whole town involved and we feel that we have something, but we're not presenting it, is the legislation looking for us to be presenting something? I'm just confused. I'm asking the question.
So what I would say is no, we're not supporting the current legislation. And what I'm saying is, during the hearing, when we testified as to why we weren't supporting it, what we heard from the legislators was that they wanted to see whatever came back to the legislative body to be something that was much more broadly supported by the community, and the current iteration, which is there now, was not, because there was so much opposition when there was the hearing. So I think what they were saying is basically like, don't send us this legislation again, send us something once you work with everybody to get everybody to agree. So I would say we pretty clearly would not support sending the same thing when we testified against it, and they said you didn't get any community support, and there wasn't any community support for it. So that, again, that's just my interpretation, but I think they were looking for, when they received something again from Nantucket, for it to not be the same thing and rather be a very collaborative, cohesive effort. And I don't know if anybody else had anything to add.
Mr. Chair, can I just follow up with a following question on that?
Briefly, yeah.
So if that's the case, we are choosing to pause on what we feel we have come up with. We have a solid piece of legislation that we have hashed out for a couple of years. So I guess then I just ask, why are we pausing on it? Do we feel like we need more time to get more community support, or That's kind of my question.
Go ahead, Leslie, I'll let you go. Because I want to weigh in on a few things as well too, very quickly.
Well,
ahead, though.
one piece of the puzzle is that there's already a home rule petition in front of the legislature that was approved at the special town meeting.
Mhm.
So it's somewhat of an issue to have two competing home rule petitions that address the same issue, if you will. So it just puts, I think, our legislators in a bad spot of, you know, which one do they support, which one do they try to advance? And, you know, I think we do need an opportunity to show the legislature that we've been working on our own version, and maybe through the public comment on the home rule petition that's pending at the legislature, we can, you know, voice to them, look, we have some legislation, it's ready to go, we're ready to bring it to town meeting, but out of respect, we've waited until this one is dealt with.
Mhm. And maybe just to answer that, this commission has gone through a few months of entertaining what to do with the current Article 16 that was passed through. And I think most of you made it abundantly clear that in its totality, we would not be supporting it. Strangely enough, though, there are some pieces out of that we have adopted over time, which I think is laudable for this committee, for this commission to have done it. We say, and it certainly wasn't done in a heartbeat. It was done with a fair amount of dialogue, conversation, and insight. And again, things can change over time about what we want to do with it. I think we worked through that process pretty darn hard. We discussed I think we discussed in great detail all of the different components that went into Article 16 and then the prior legislation beforehand. And as I said, we've adopted some pieces of it, not in total. But that wasn't done quickly in any way, shape, or form. That was done with a fair amount of consideration and dialogue by this commission. What the future holds in store for that, we will, of course, monitor it as time goes on and make you aware of the situation. And again, we'll determine what our courses of action are as it proceeds through the State House. As a home rule petition, it will be up to the board to make decisions along the way. That said, I appreciate your dialogue from everyone. You've brought some things forward that I hadn't considered, and I would agree with you that fine, it's good to pause. I really just wanted to be clear, though, because I've always felt like we are under the gun to have to deliver something. And so, because a fair amount of time did elapse underneath this, and so I thought it was worthy to bring up to the commission to be able to say, okay, we've probably reached a critical juncture here with what's going on, and now it was time to make a decision about how we wanted to move ahead with it. The only thing I would urge, if we're going to start educating, which I don't think is a bad idea, I am fully supportive of that, but there are two things that I would just tag on to that. One, I think it will be good to do that education as close as possible to when we should be rolling something out. Do this too early, and that will be yesterday's news. So timing with the educational component will be very, very important in terms of when we do it, because you really do want it fresh in people's mind. The other thing too is I won't try to do this too early too, because it seems in the past when we've done this, there are people out there who like to counter detail everything we do. And again, it's the way of the world. How that counter detailing takes place is a story for another day, but it does not, in my own opinion, it does not comport well with how town meeting really should conduct itself with things. So I appreciate what you've, we're going to take a vote in the end, by the way. Let me stop there for a moment. I'll turn it over to John and then I'll turn it over to Brooke. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just, you know, as a new commissioner, a process question. I mean, logically, when we take this pause action, as the legislators at the state level consider the current home rule petition that's up there, isn't it logical to assume that they will come back to you, Mr. Chair, or with how do you feel about this, or Leslie? I mean, won't they want to hear from the current commissioners how we feel about that? And is that an opportunity we're going to get? I guess is my question. Thank you.
Leslie, go ahead, please.
Yep. So we will be notified of the date of the hearing and the time, and the commission members will have an opportunity to individually speak before the committee. And that's what we did the last time as well.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Brooke?
So there are always opportunities to submit written comment. And I think there would be an opportunity for this commission to vote to submit the work, the outcome of the work that the commission has done with regard to this as an example of what it seems they were looking for when the first home rule petition was making its way through the hearing process. So there's nothing to say that this commission can't have its voice heard in that regard. They're not going to seek out our opinion, but there are opportunities for public input along the way in the legislative process.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brooke. I think that's actually a really good idea for us to do it. Dave? You're muted, Dave. Sorry, we're losing you.
I just want to remind you to give Bert a chance because I know he passed the first round.
Oh, that's right. Thank you. No, I appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, this is what happens when you kind of wait till the end here. I'm sorry, but go ahead, Bert. What do you think you'd like to do in terms of the options that we had talked about?
Well, I think that I agree with Nat in the sense that we need to find a way to educate the public on what's going on and what we do and so forth. But as was stated before, the time to do that is probably before we have something to present again or for the town to vote on. So I guess the position now is, I guess do we pause, Barry? Is that what we're trying to do?
I would tell you right now, the three options are to either pause, citizens warrant article, or select board article. The majority of the commissioners here, which I know you've heard, they are feeling like we should pause at this point.
Okay.
And so you're saying pause?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to get that clear for the record, that's all. Brooke, did you have something else, please?
Yeah, I remembered why I raised my hand in the first place. Around the education piece, the select board is trying to have more opportunities for joint public meetings with other boards on areas of common concern at a Wednesday night meeting rather than at a special meeting that goes relatively unviewed versus a Wednesday night. So the fact that viewership of the Wednesday night select board meetings is one of the highest, that there can be opportunities when items come up to have a joint meeting and discuss them together. And that will, I think, help help highlight some of the roles and responsibilities of this commission versus other boards.
Agreed. 100%.
All right. Does anyone else have any additional comments? Leslie, is there anything else? Because I'm going to call for two different votes at this point.
I believe discussion seems to be over. Let's,
Okay, and I just wanted to make sure I wasn't getting too far ahead of things, or if there was something else that you needed to chime in on. So the first thing before this commission is then to take a vote at this point that of the three options that we've talked about, the commission is going to pause for now. And we'll again keep you abreast of everything with what's going to happen. So does that make sense go ahead, Brooke? I'm trying to flesh out the motion.
Yeah, just as a point of order, I think we probably have to vote to rescind our vote to submit the proposal to right. We voted to approve our proposal and to send it directly to the legislature, I believe, is the action we took. So I think that what we need to do is undo that, right?
Right.
So
right,
rescind that vote would be
thank
to send
you
it
for
to the
reminding me.
legislature.
Thank you for reminding me about that. I do appreciate it. Leslie, that is correct with that. Okay, so that's on the record. John? You're muted again, sir.
Mr. Chair, I'm not the one to give you the words, but should it be something a little more than pause? Because pause could be perhaps interpreted a few different ways.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether we could say something a little more explicit.
Well, what do you have in mind?
I don't.
Yeah, okay, that's
But
again.
I'm just thinking that pause perhaps might say different things to different people.
Right.
I'm sure
Well,
Leslie's great with words, so.
Right. Okay, so the motion gets, I'm just going to break this into its pieces because I think that is just the easiest thing to do. It is so clear and doesn't muddy the waters. So the first thing we're going to do is take a vote to rescind our previous motion to send this to the State House. Is that correct, Leslie?
yes.
Okay, you all understand what we're doing here and hopefully concur with where we're heading. So, roll call vote. John?
Aye.
Dave?
Yes.
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Bert?
Aye.
Nat? Nathaniel?
Aye, sorry.
No, that's okay. Brooke?
Aye.
Abby?
Sorry, I didn't unmute. Aye.
Okay. Joe?
Aye, didn't you already vote? Didn't I already vote?
No, not yet.
Oh, aye.
Okay, thank you. Christina?
Aye.
Wendy?
Aye.
I'm sorry if I'm taking these a little bit out of alignment from where we were. I'm doing this according to where we are on the screen at this point. Okay, so that motion passes unanimously. So the second thing to do is, let me think here. So for now, Leslie, you're going to have to help me out here, is to take no action on this at the moment.
Well,
Go ahead.
yes. I mean, I think you all spent quite a bit of time talking about, an education component of this, an explanation component of what the commission currently does, how we got here, all of those things. So I think a motion to, continue to educate the public about the work you've done on legislative changes, but to take no action at this time relative to the upcoming town meeting.
Okay, thank you for helping to flesh that out. Does that all comport well with you? I'm not seeing anyone saying no. We're going to do roll call a vote again. John Kitchener?
Aye.
Dave?
Wait,
Aye.
I don't,
Oh,
did
sorry,
anyone make the motion?
I'm sorry.
No one made a,
No, you're 100% correct. So would someone like to make that motion, please? Thank you, Leslie.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, motion's made and seconded. Is there discussion on the issue? Hearing none, let's do this again. My apologies. John?
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Bert,
Aye.
Nat,
Aye.
Brooke,
Aye.
Abby,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Christina,
Aye.
Wendy,
Aye.
Brooke, did I miss you? I'm sorry. Bounced around on the screen there.
I voted aye.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, so that's a unanimous vote, and the chair votes affirmative as well with this. So, all right, the last thing that I think Brooke brought up, which is an incredibly good point, and we need to take a little time to do this, but that would be to send a letter to the appropriate Senate committee to kind of give them an update of where we are, where we've been, and go ahead, help me to flesh this out again.
So my understanding is that the current bill is going to, the one that was on the first version of the home rule petition, the session ends December 31st, and the only thing that gets voted on between now and then is non-controversial items. And so it will expire, the session expires, and then the home rule petition that was sent up as a result of the fall special town meeting will be filed as a new bill in the new session, which begins January 1st.
Got it.
So my suggestion is this commission should take no action until we have a bill number and the process is started, and then we can decide what our participation will be in that process as the home rule petition makes its way through the legislature.
All right. I like that. That's sound advice. So Leslie, when January rolls around, we'll need to start tracking that, and that should probably be part of an agenda item, even if nothing really as much has happened on our January meeting. Please, if that sounds reasonable.
January might be a little early. I believe
Okay.
it takes a little time, but I will keep an eye on it, just like I keep an eye on other legislation that is of interest to the commission.
Okay, thank you.
Easy to track.
Fantastic. All right. Is there any other, anything on this topic that you need to just or feel like we need to discuss, or we're pretty well vetted this through? Okay. Thank you, everyone. A lot of hard work, I have to commend you all. I mean, this was insightful. The process has been insightful. And I, for one, really appreciate all the time and energy that you've put into this. You need to be praised for that. So thank you.
Would you like a motion to adjourn?
You just read my mind.
Second.
I have.
Yeah. Did you have something, John, or?
No.
No, okay. So
Just to
Brooke,
second it.
making a motion to adjourn, and then John, you're seconding that?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, roll call vote at this point. John?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Bert?
Aye.
Nat?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Christina?
Aye.
Brooke?
Aye.
Abby?
Aye.
And Wendy?
Aye.
Chair votes in the affirmative. Again, everyone, thank you for your time. This was
Thank you.
important. I
Thank you,
appreciate
everyone.
it. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you.
Is it?
Aye. Thanks, guys.